Kia ora te whānau, welcome to Drive's Work Ready Huitopa for February of 2023. We're so grateful that you're able to join us today. Now let's start off our hui with a karakia. Troy, please.
Kia ora, Edith. Kia ora, everyone. Just wanted to open up our hui today with our mihi tour group. So, inoi tātou, kia ora koutou katoa, he mihi nui, kia ora koutou katoa, ko Troy ahu, no Waiuku ahu, no reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora.
Me taki, Troy. Yes, I can see we are live. Great. Okay, so I'd just like to introduce us first of all. We have a new face with us today. So first of all, I'm Edith. I am the Senior Network Coordinator for Drive. I'm of Cook Island Māori and Tahitian descent. I'm a mother of 2 and a grandmother of 3. And I love working for Drive. Now, I'll pass it on to Ruthie.
Kia ora koutou, ko Ruth Cheeseman toka ingoa. I am a network facilitator with Drive and also the peer employment training facilitator. I'm a proud South Aucklander and I've been in the sector since 2006 and I've loved every day of it. And I especially love Drive. Troy.
And off to Troy.
Kia ora, everyone. Yep, my name is Troy Guest. I am a Drive coordinator. I'm also a peer support worker at a residential service called Puna Whakataa, which is a respite. I've been in the sector since 2012, so just over 10 years. Hugely passionate about what we do, hugely passionate about our people and what we can provide. Blessed to be in this space here this morning, and just want to say thank you for everyone that's attending today. Kia ora.
Kia ora. And our newest addition today is Andrew Blackburn, and he is a new employee of Ember. Korowai takatine. Andrew, please introduce yourself.
Kia ora. Ko Andrew Blackburn toka ingoa. I'm a New Zealand-born European Pākehā. Loved working in the mental health industry or sector for must be about 25 years now in various roles. The last one being a consumer advisor with one of the larger DHBs before Te Whatu Ora was merged last year. So yeah, that's me, everyone. Nice to meet you all.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Andrew. Okay, so now I'm going to share our PowerPoint with you. Here we go, Drive's Work Ready Hui. So the whole thinking behind this is that we've noticed that there are a lot of vacancies at the moment for people with lived experience, mainly in the peer support roles, but not exclusively. And so we thought, why don't we do something to help prepare our peers to step into these roles? So we've done our karakia, and I also want to just let you know that there will be a recording of this Facebook Live Hui that's going to be available within Drive's Facebook videos. If you want, if there are parts of it that you wanted to watch again, especially from the people who are in employing positions, you'll be able to do that. And we also will be creating clips of them as well, so it's even easier for you to access them. Okay, so what is Drive? So a lot of people still are a bit, well, not a lot, but people are still discovering us for the first time. So we are a network. We're not a service. We're a network for people with lived experience of mental distress or harm from alcohol or other drugs. And their whānau. We also support the whānau of our people. And it's for people who live within the Counties Manukau health region. So we're funded by Te Whatu Ora Counties Manukau. And so the main thing that we do the main thing is we are connecting people to the resources they need so they can empower themselves. So I grabbed this little map here because a lot of people are confused about where the Counties Manukau region begins and ends. So if you can see here, it goes right up to Otahuhu. It actually cuts off quite early on Otahuhu, so it's mainly Papatoi, and then it goes across to Beachlands, across to Maraiatai, right out to Oriri Point, right down, intersects Miranda, in the south, comes right down. See, you have a look and see where Port Waikato is. It's kind of just below halfway in our region, so there's still a lot of Counties Manukau below Port Waikato, and then all the way up to the Manukau head. So we've had people say to us, oh, I wish I could access you, I live in Papakura. Well, Papakura is like pretty much almost central to our region. So we cover Mangere Bridge, Manirewa, Waiuku, of course, Pono. It's a massive area. A lot of it is rural, but we do have our suburban centres as well. So if you access, like Middlemore Hospital or Franklin Hospital or the super clinics, Highland Park or where is that super clinic? In East Auckland?
Botany.
Botany, thank you, Ruth. Or the Manukau Super Clinic, then you are within the Counties Manukau region. Okay, so what we do is, here's just a real snippet of what we do, because obviously we want to get to the work ready hui bit. That's why most of you will be tuning in with us today. So what we do, as I said earlier, is we connect people with the resources they need so they can empower themselves. So we're navigators. We support people to navigate. We also are involved with people's personal and professional development through workshops. So we have the Recovery College and we have abacus training. And so some of that is so that people can be work ready. So the abacus training specifically, earlier this week on Tuesday, we had Peter Thorburn delivering group facilitation skills. So upskilling people in that very important resource. And later on, we're also going to be having, Rika is going to be doing a workshop on my story, my taonga. So how we can be telling our story, and that can be professionally, but that can also just be personally. And we're also involved in systemic advocacy, so helping to make changes at the higher levels, governmental levels, regional levels, so that our people, their human rights are upheld, so that they are able to move in society and well-being and achieve the goals that they've set for themselves. So we have to be available at all of those different levels to support our people in the goals that they've set for themselves. So we also have scholarships. So we've got our recovery camp, we consider a scholarship, and that is, pay attention, that is March the 17th to the 19th of next month. March the 17th to the 19th of next month. And so if you wanted to go on the waiting list for that, because we have got a lot of people have applied, but what happens with that camp is that people apply and then closer to the date, people drop out. And so we like to have a very healthy waiting list. So as I said, recovery camp this year, March the 17th to the 19th. We're going to be at the Chosen Valley Christian Camp again. That's where we always are in Ararimu. So it's heaps of fun, and we'll be happy to answer more questions about that if you have that. And then we've also got, at the end of the year in November, we've got our Cutting Edge Conference Scholarship, where we will be taking 6 people with us, and this year Cutting Edge will be in Hamilton. So here's our first quiz question. So this is something we're also doing, is we are giving away countdown vouchers, $20 countdown vouchers for 10 people who are answering our questions or participating in our activities today. and this will be open for the next week. So you don't have to be here right now. You'll be able to answer these questions, email them, text us, however you want to do it, private message us here, make a comment, and you'll be entering the draw for that. So first quiz question, what date is camp this year? So I did mention it twice. What date is camp this year? Okay, so as we already talked about, my story, my taonga, the workshop that Recovery College is doing, that helps us with our personal and our professional development. So I've just popped in the next 3 workshops that we've got with the Recovery College. So we've got next week on Tuesday, the 28th of February, we've got Rainbow and Recovery with Rika, and we've asked Rika to do this for us in celebration of Pride Month. It's Pride Month this month. So we've got our Rainbow and Recovery workshop, and that is all about, if you want to learn more about the barriers that our Rainbow whānau are facing, so that you can be more supportive to them, and how you can be a better ally to them, because they face a lot of barriers in our society. It's better than it was, but it's still, there's a lot of work to do. And so we want to be part of that solution. And if you want to be part of the solution too, there are still spaces available in this workshop on Tuesday, and I will pop the link to that in the chat. So yes, we've got My Story, My Taonga happening at the end of the month. That will be on the 27th of next month, at the end of next month. That'll be on the 27th of March. And a day later, we'll be exploring recovery for women. So we also have our abacus training, which is more in the professional development field. And the upcoming trainings for that are assertiveness skills in March. We've got leadership skills in April, and in May, it's Youth Week is in May, and so we've asked them to do a youth workshop for us, and so that one will be Pathways to Addiction. And all of our abacus workshops this year are being delivered by Peter Thorburn, which you can imagine we're just overjoyed about, because he is by far our most popular, most beloved facilitator. If people aren't aware, without Peter, there would be no drive. So we are, whenever he comes back, it's, you know, whānau is entering the room again. So we also want to just remind you about our bipolar support group that meets twice a month, and they have actually moved venues. So they're on the first Friday of every month from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, but they are now at Friendship House, level 1 of Friendship House in the Moana room. So if you are looking for the bipolar support group, they're now at Friendship House. And we can give you the email for them as well if you'd like to make contact. And also, as I mentioned earlier, one of the things that we do is we participate in systemic advocacy. So trying to change things at the governmental and the regional level to make life more equitable, more fair for our people, so that we do have that opportunity to achieve the goals that we've set for ourselves. So there are three groups that I've just pulled out here, the 3 Village, 1 Island, Ropu, the Nuku Te Ao social movement program. If you remember the Like Minds, Like Mine program, it's now been rebranded to Nuku Te Ao, Like Minds. And we are also part of the Equally Well movement. So there's a specific event happening now for the 3 Village, 1 Island Ainga, and that is 3 Villages Pacific Lived Experience. It's a brand new collective. So we have the 3 villages. The Drua village is addictions. We have the Tangata Moana Nui village is mental health, and we have the Mana Pacifica village is disability. So they are all coming together to, you know, collectively boost what our members are needing. And so on Monday, we have been gifted with a Pono with the Pacific Health Directorate from Manatu Hawara. As far as we know, we are the only lived experience Pacific group who are feeding into the Pacific Health strategy that's being developed at the moment. So we're very excited about that. And Ember has kindly offered to host us. So we'll be at the Huia Road, Ember South Hub. So if there are any Pacific lived experience people out there who would like to participate in this, you're very welcome to join us. Please PM, contact Drive, And we'll be very happy to give you the information about that so you can join us for that. And quiz question for that one. You might have to go back for this and watch the recording. What are the 3 villages and 3 village 1 island? What are those 3 villages? And you don't have to use the Pacific name. You can just use the English name. That makes it a bit easier, doesn't it? Okay, off to you, Troy.
Kia ora again, everyone. Just wanted to share a little about what I do here at Drive. So friends of Drive are welcome to do a check-in with me. So Wednesday to Friday, obviously in between the appointments that I have externally. If you would like to have a check-in with me, please text, email, or just call. And I can do that via, you can just do text communication, phone call, or we can have a Zoom meeting as well. So those options are available for our Drive Network members. Also on Fridays, Ruth and myself, we host a Drive check-in group, just a really safe space to come and have a corridor around how your week's going, maybe float some ideas around, what you'd like to see in the community, but generally just a really good place to come and catch up, feel safe, share what's going on for you, and maybe just get a little bit of feedback. Yeah, Ruth and I have been doing that for a little while now, and it just seems to be growing. So I'm really happy with how that's going, and an amazing opportunity to work alongside Ruth again. So again, if you'd like to do a check-in with Troy, please text, email, or message the Facebook page, whatever is easiest for you. But I always try and make space available if anyone wants to do a check-in in between my other appointments.
Beautiful. Thank you, Troy. And let's go to our quiz question now. Would you like to do that one, Troy?
Sure. So what time is the Drive check-in group on a Friday?
Okay. Oh, and we got a second quiz question for you, Troy.
So which days is Troy available for a one-on-one check-in?
And let's be cheeky and just quickly go back here.
Nice.
Because we want you to be successful. And we want you to join us for these. We want you to know when Troy's available, and we want you to come to our Friday check-in group.
Absolutely.
Cool.
There we go for you people. There we go. Get those $20 vouchers. Okay, and over to you now, Ruth.
Oh, thanks, Edith. So the peer employment training, it's the only training that you need in order to go and apply for peer support roles within Counties Manukau. It's an 11-day training. You must have done the RAP training first, and you must live in Counties Manukau. We learn everything we need to learn about the role, but also a lot about ourselves. A huge part of peer support is knowing how to share our story safely in order to inspire others. Yeah, I can't really add much more to that at the moment, apart from the fact that we've got another one coming up very soon.
Very soon. And you already told them the date for that, didn't you?
No, so it's the 1st of March. So if you do have a RAP, you do live in Counties Manukau, and you're really passionate about learning to be a peer support worker, peer support specialist, get hold of me really fast, because I do have places, but you need to get in quick.
Beautiful, thank you.
And that's one of the lovely classes that we've had, and they gave their permission to be on Facebook, which was lovely. So my question is, when does the next PET start?
Okay, when does it start, people? Okay, on to you, Ruth.
Right. So we're going to do a scavenger hunt. Now, those of you who've been to our online Huitopa before will know what a scavenger hunt is. But basically, we're going to give you 3 minutes So the clock will start as soon as I finish talking. 3 minutes to jump up from your chair, have a look around your place, and find 3 things that would be useful for a job interview. So, 3 of the most important things, preferably. So jump up, go and find those 3 things that will be useful for a job interview and come back in 3 minutes.
We need to have a countdown ticker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've said it before, haven't I, guys, that whenever we do these things, I always just look straight at my phone and think, oh, well, there's 3 apps here that would be useful.
I've got it. Now we're giving people 3 minutes because not everybody's thought this far ahead. Yeah, it's wonderful thinking about our work in the sector, but there's very practical steps that you need to do to prepare for that. So that's why we're giving you this time to think about that, and then we're going to get you to take a photo or just enter is that right, Edith? We'll be getting them to take a photo and then putting it in the feed.
They could do that, absolutely, or they could just write down what they found. A photo would be amazing, though, if they could do that. Oopsie.
Okay, we're down to 2 minutes, people. So we can learn off each other, what we think is useful, because there's actually there's way more than 3 things.
And I think, like, for me, I would get caught up in kind of big things, whereas there's actually some very simple things, aren't there? Very simple everyday things that would be useful in a job interview.
Yep. Okay, we've got 1 minute to go. Hopefully people haven't got massive houses they've got to run from one end to the other.
Should really have some music going now, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Maybe Andrew could sing for us.
No, my singing's only slightly better than my humming, so no.
I thought he was going to bust out a Whatu for us. It would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so
Oh, can I turn this thing off now?
just trying to look at all the comments. It's only showing me a few. Ugh. Okay, going to the phone now. Okay, that's better. Goodness, I'm having trouble seeing the comments here. I can see. can see a comment from David, but it's disappeared on me now. Oh, goodness. Let's see if I can pull this whole thing up. There it is. David says a suitable wardrobe, CV, questions for interviewer, a car to get there. Oh. Oh, and Faye's saying tidy clothes, pen and paper, a smile.
Yes, love it.
Very, very important to wear that smile on your dial. Okay, so you would notice that I've popped up a document here with lived experience vacancies. So I created this Google Doc quite a while ago. So, and I update it every few days. So at the moment, last update was today. And at the moment, there are 18 vacancies, and most of them are peer support. Some of them look kind of entry level. Some of them are part-time. So for instance, Haven in the CBD, working through Merge Cafe, that is only on Friday nights, Saturdays and Sundays. So that might suit some people. There's also work with Matariki, Emerge Aotearoa, our very close whānau here in Papatoi. They're looking for someone. And there are some senior peer support positions with the alcohol and drug treatment court. So there's something for everyone, whether you're an entry level or whether you've been in the sector for a while and you're looking to move into a new challenging role, leading a team. So yeah, let me pop that. Where is my link here?
And did you want me to just do a little follow-up from our wonderful prize winners about the interview for a few other points?
Yes, absolutely, please.
Okay, so I just have a little bit of an issue, and I think you all should have this issue. I've seen many people's email addresses as they apply for peer employment training, and I can tell you now that if they had those looking for a job interview, they may be passed over. So I'm actually embarrassed to say what some of them are, but just take it from from me. It's unhelpful. Anything from your past before recovery, drugs, alcohol, sex, politics, just stay away. Just something really clear that it makes it obvious that it's your address. You want to bring all your documents with you so they can scan or photocopy them, and you don't have to go back and forth, creating a gap. You want that to be an immediate sort of an engagement. Obviously, no swearing. Just being really prepared, looking at where it is, maybe even just doing a dummy run if you're driving, if you're getting public transport, just leave early. Public transport is erratic at times. The traffic is certainly worse. The dress, being a bit better dressed than the job would be, that seems to be a bit of a theme. So, if you can see down it, through it, up it, don't wear that. There's also likely to be more than one person on your interview panel. There might even be 4 people. So just be prepared for the fact that there's going to be that many people. And, when one person asks you a question, you address them back. Also, bring a question or two of your own, because they'll always ask you that, and it looks like you've prepared if you've got a couple of intelligent questions to ask. So really basic things, but sometimes in becoming nervous about the interview, you can forget some of these basics.
Awesome, thank you, Ruth. Absolutely, yes, I've seen some email addresses that it doesn't bode well if you're putting that forward to an employer on your CV. I can't see that they would think that you would be the right person for the job.
Yeah, yeah.
With these email addresses. So, you know, really new life. Think about changing that email address, and it's easy enough to do. We can all create a Gmail account very, very quickly, with, you know, some version of your name so it looks more professional.
And likewise, your phone message, put a message with your name on it, asking for people to leave a message. Don't leave one of these gaps and then go, yo. You know, you need a professional thing, so when your future employer gives you a call, you know, they're not left sort of dithering with your phone message. It's a really, really bad look. And it's easy to put a really positive message on.
Absolutely. Okay, let's have a look where we are now. Okay, so now we're going to go over to Aaryn Niuapu. He's done a video. So Aaryn is one of our lived experience peers who is sitting in interview panels. He'll tell you his new role. He's moved on from Te Pau, the Workforce Development Centre, and he's got some great suggestions for you.
Kia ora koutou e hoa mā. My name is Aaryn Niuapu. I am the Lived Experience Director for Te Whatu Te Toka Tuma, previously the Auckland District Health Board. Now, when it comes to anyone applying for consumer peer support and lived experience roles, these are 4 tips that I like to call 4 C's that I want to offer to you all. So the first one is confidence in the role and in the wider capital workforce. So I want to know that you know the greater detail of the role and what it entails, as well as how it fits within the wider consumer peer support and lived experience competencies published by Te Pau back in 2021. The second one is confidence in your skills and experiences. So I'm talking about lived and professional experience. I'm talking about skills as in cultural, technical, clinical, whatever your skills and experiences are. I want to feel that charisma and know that you're confident in them, that they can be applied to this role. The third one is confidence in your well-being, that you can role model that recovery, which is part of the competencies, that you have a wider support network and a robust well-being plan. The fourth one is confidence to be a game changer, that you are the missing puzzle piece for the organization that you're applying for. So I don't want to overtly hear you say, I'm the game changer, you need to hire me, but just bringing that level of confidence, that level of charisma, and really communicating how you would love to help the organization go from here to here, that you would love to help the organization bring future transformative practice into the present. And lastly, when it comes to the question around remuneration, and whoever's hiring you asks what you're looking for, never answer with a number. Say, what is budgeted for this role? And I'd see myself as top of that scale. So hopefully that helps there, Homa. All the best.
Okay, so we're back. So Aaryn talked about the 4 C's of confidence in the details of the role, and how it fits within the competencies. And I've popped the competencies in the chat there, so you can have a look and see. If you haven't heard of the competencies, that's something that Aaryn was part of developing last year. Very important for you to have a look and see what the expectation is for those of us in these lived experience roles. He talks about the second C is your confidence in your own skills and your own experiences, including your lived experience, but beyond that as well. Confidence in your well-being, so your ability to look after yourself. Do you have a wrap for work? What are you doing to maintain your well-being? And your competency in being a game changer, to be that person that that organization really needs at that time. And several of the other employers are going to be echoing a lot of these, what Aaryn has said here. Of course, they haven't put it quite as beautifully and succinctly as the 4 C's, but that's Aaryn's style, to come up with models like this for us to make things easier. And he also, which he really is the only one that of all of the employers who talked about this, he talked about remuneration, that to actually have that conversation. No, most of our roles actually do have that in the job description. They'll give you a range. And so, you know, he encourages us to ask about what, if that range isn't there, what's budgeted for this role, and to let them know that where we see ourselves on that scale, and that is at the top of that scale. So anyone want to make some comments about that?
Just that these competencies made by Topo, you know, when everybody was consulted, and they apply to all of us in any roles and lived experience. So it's not just peer support, it can be consumer advisors, educators, researchers. They applied to everybody, and there's a core set that we all have to have, and there's another couple for peer support and consumer advisors that are more specific to that role, and they have 3 levels. And you would start at the first one, so your employer would just be working through those ones with you to make sure that you hit the competency for your particular level, and we're all starting to use them more and more, and you can just access them as Edith said. She's put that address on the chat.
Yeah, right there for you. Couldn't be easier. And there's quite a few pages that you can go through and have a look and see what's going on there. And I think there's even a little mini training you can go in through and upskill yourself on it. So very important for us to be aware of this. Oopsie, move you over. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our videos. And we're going to Fionna Sutherland from Te Whatuora Counties Manukau, the Matariki Community Mental Health Team Leader.
Look,
Yay,
when I
Fiona!
do an interview, you've done something really amazing to get an interview. It means that your letter, your CV is absolutely great and spot on. So as a manager, we have to shortlist from written information. It's a CV, it's a letter, and it's an application form. And if, you know, we probably don't get as many these days, but, you know, if you've got one position and you get 20 applicants, you have to shortlist 20 down to 1, and that can be really challenging. So people need to realise that their documentation, their CV, keep it simple, really keep it simple, because as a manager, if I'm looking at 20 CVs, I'm doing a skim of it. I'm not in detail reading every line. So don't write a novel. You know, you're better off with bullet points rather than paragraphs and paragraphs of information. From a peer support specialist perspective, I think there's a fine line between what you disclose about your own lived experience. So there have been times when people have disclosed a heap, both in their CV but also their letter. That's actually not necessarily the most useful thing to do. I think there's a level of disclosure that you can. I think each person needs to find that space that they feel comfortable with being able to disclose any information about their own personal journey that is going to add value and enhance their recruitment process. So yeah, and to be writing about it, if you do write about it or talk about it, it's from a way of how it inspires others and potentially can motivate others.
Okay, the amazing Fionna Sutherland. Now, one thing that, you know, she said so many great things in there, didn't she? But one thing that really struck me was her comment about oversharing your lived experience. Does anyone else have any want to make any comments on that?
Yes, we look at that in the training, and you just need to, you just need to find, you know, that appropriate level, because if you can't do it in the interview, then you're really going to struggle on the job. And for them, that is a barometer of where you're at with that level of skill. And your lived experience is your precious taonga, and it's why you're here. So you just, we have to treasure it and not overshare it, and just find the right bits for the right people. It's an amazing gift, but especially at the beginning, you know, it is easy to sort of say too much. So pay a lot of attention to that.
I think for a big one for what I've experienced when I've been on interview panels and things like that is, don't talk about your past lived experience, talk about your present lived experience. And what I mean by that is, how do you support your recovery now? So if we, you know, I've interviewed people before and they've talked about their life previously. I want to hear about how you're sustaining your longevity and recovery. And I really like how she said about bullet points. Keep it simple, because when you do have a lot of applicants, you don't have time to be skimming through everyone, reading in depth. So keep it simple, bullet points, short and sharp. But again, talk about, you know, what you do for your recovery now.
Yeah, and just adding to that, Troy, that whole sort of using your covering letter specifically for this job position, and saying how you feel you're going to be the right person for that job. So simple but direct and specific as well.
Beautiful. There's some great tips. Okay, just trying to make this screen a bit smaller. Here we go. Ooh. Excuse me. Okay, let's go to our next person now. Someone that may be familiar to you.
Hey.
Kia ora, my name is David Cutten. I'm the team manager at Puna Whakataa. We're an alcohol and drug respite service in Manurewa, South Auckland. I've been asked to share some of my experience of the many years of recruitment that I've been involved in, and some of the things that may serve well as pointers to any of you who are thinking about applying for roles. Firstly, just wanted to say, if you are thinking about applying for roles within the mental health, addictions, or other lived experience sectors, just go for it. You know, we're really looking for good people like yourselves to fill the many roles that are out there. So you have all my encouragement. Hey, some of the things that we look for right away is that people have really read the advertisement well, and that their application is able to reflect that. Yeah. CV and cover letters are really important. It's a way for us to get to know you before we've met you in person often. And but my advice around CVs and cover letters is that while they're really important, they don't need to be big novels. So they don't have to be pages and pages of information, just stuff that gives us the basic facts that make us go, oh, this person sounds like they may be a good fit, you know. So an example of that is identify that you have lived experience if that's what the role is asking for. And often that's enough. We can explore that a little bit later if you make it to the recruitment process. Yeah, it's always good to acknowledge recovery as part of that lived experience as well. But I guess with CVs and cover letters, keep it short, keep it simple. Yeah, remembering that the goal from the application is to move into the interview process, where we'll get to know you a little bit more, and you'll get to know us a little bit more, and then we, you know, progress from there. A bit of advice is to research the role that you're applying for. It's always good to come in armed with some of your own knowledge about the organisation that you're applying to be with, or the service, or the service that you're applying to work for. It's good to be able to say, hey, I know a little bit about you guys, and this is why I feel like I'll be a really good fit for this role and within this team. So that's a good solid piece of basic advice. When it comes to the interview process itself, I think it's really important to be on time, to show up looking tidy, be prepared. So some of that research that you've done before is going to probably hold you in good stead. Be honest. There's not much that we can hear in one of those processes that we haven't heard before. So nothing's going to shock us. We just want to know you for the real you. Okay, and that's really important that that's what you present with. Just be yourself. Just know that if you've made it to the interview process, there's something about you and your application that's already stood out in a really positive way. So just keep that in mind, eh? Ask heaps of questions. We want to see that you're interested, and the more you can ask us, the more that we can give you, and the more that we can find out as to whether we think you're a good fit as much as you think you're a good fit. Good luck, all the best. Can't wait to see you out in the sector. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
So we got any comments about that one, guys? Shall we move on to the next one? Pretty self-explanatory, isn't it?
Yeah. Common themes coming up, eh?
Absolutely. Yep. That's it. Exactly.
Right across mental health and addiction.
Hi, I'm Joy I'm the team manager at Piri, our acute alternative service at Ember, and I'm based in Silverdale. So I find when I'm doing an interview, the practical things just to start with is turn up on time. Even maybe 5 minutes early, just shows you're keen and the commitment to this interview process. So that's really important. And I guess when we're interviewing, we do want to see that people are excited and passionate about the job that they're hoping to get. So that also is important. Then there's, again, practical stuff. So, we're looking for people who have experience. Life experience is important as well. And of course, if it's care services, there's lived experience. So we're always looking for that. Another thing that's really important is we don't know you that well. We're just meeting you. So choose your referees, choose them right. Make sure you get the right person who knows you, and of course, we would like to have a manager or someone you've been employed with before. But we really, really rely on their feedback. It's essential. So that's another important part. And I guess researching the job that you're going for. It's quite nice if we say, what do you know about the organisation or the job? Then people can come back and show us, they've looked into it, and also ask questions. We're happy to answer any questions, and that also shows that interest is there. So maybe write a few questions down if you want to know something about the job before you come, so you're prepared. There will be and I get people are nervous, and that's just normal. So we'll try and make people as comfortable as possible. But really, we're looking for the right person for the right job. So really have a good look at the job before you come to make sure it's going to be the right thing for you. And good luck.
Hey, now I've just remembered what I wanted to say about David's one. And so if there's something you wanted to say about Joy's, please just think about that now. So the fact that he said in that in your CV, you just have to say you have lived experience. You don't need to go into any detail about that in that cover letter or in your CV itself. Just to say I have lived experience, and then they can explore it further when you come into for your interview. So I think that's beautiful. Look at lived experience can be so diverse, and oftentimes it is better to have that as a conversation, isn't it? Telling people about things like that. So, any comments?
No, I'm just loving the fact that everyone's, aligned with each other.
Okay, I guess we'll move on to the next one then.
I think something that we do really look for is an authenticity. Transparency is a really important thing. So just bringing who you are and the truth about you, and you know, just a depth and an awareness of yourself, your own journey, your recovery, your well-being, the strategies you've got going forward in your life, and where and how you think that would support and work alongside, you know, others who have maybe currently are experiencing what you have. I think it's a really great thing not to feel that you need to oversell yourself. So just bring yourself, bring who you are, and just again that transparency, like you're here in a peer lived experience role. So bringing that truth with you, just real clarity, real honesty, and yeah, that's what we like to see. That's what we see brings the connection and relatability that you would need to have in a peer role.
The amazing Sara Howard. Now, what is Sara's role at Ember?
Sara, I think Sara's role is best practice supervisor.
Best practice supervisor. Right, so she goes around to all of our peer supports and our residential support workers, is that right?
Residential, community-based support workers. Yeah, so I think Sara's role is just, you know, co-reflection. So how's your practice sort of going? What skills do you want to sort of sharpen up on? You know, maybe give her an example around, you know, maybe an interaction you had that you could get some sort of learnings from. That sort of Sara's role is to, you know, support us to better our practice.
Excellent. So yeah, her talking about authenticity. I mean, that's just key peer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anything else we want to talk about from that?
Just that's a great example of herself, you know, like that's a different role. She's a very experienced peer support worker, very experienced team manager, very experienced facilitation of peer employment and of IPS, and she's brought all that together into this amazing role, and everybody, all of the peers in Ember appreciate her and her input and her listening. So that's another role. It's another role you wouldn't hear about, but yeah.
That's right. One of these brand new roles that have been created, and we have people who are very flexible and are able to move into these different roles. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to move into the part of our Huitopa, where we are going to be looking at the roles that what the roles that already exist in peer support, what they actually look like. And we thought we would start with these resources that we have right here in this meeting here. So who did we have going first? So Troy, would you please tell us about what, if people were to apply for a residential peer support role, what can they expect in that role?
Good, Edith, thank you for that. I think community-based sort of settings is quite a bit different to, I think, you know, a residential sort of setting. I think obviously, you know, a bit of a day in the life of a residential setting as a peer support worker is, so, you know, you're coming in, you're reading your sort of notes, so you're checking how the previous shift has gone. Why we do that is because, you know, we want to sort of be, you know, on the ball around, you know, how each guest is traveling. For me, because I'm only there a couple of days a week as well, I need to sort of catch up and just sort of reevaluate where they're at and how can I have some sort of positive input on their journey while they're with us. So again, you know, you're working in pairs quite often. So yeah, Puna Whakataa, I'm always on with a colleague, so always working in pairs with two peer support workers. And we also facilitate groups there. So every day, you know, we have peer-led groups. So quite often I'll do like a relapse prevention group or just a self-identity, you know, just looking at things, you know, from a gentle sort of place. Because Puna Whakataa is a respite, it's not a long-term residential. So we're just sort of trying to utilize the tools that we have, give them a little bit of information, support them, engage them with other community-based recovery activities or peer support workers. Why I really like residential is because, you know, at Puna Whakataa, it is quite a quick turnover. It is only 2 weeks. So we need, you know, we can achieve quite a lot in 2 weeks. You know, I get to see guests transform within those 2 weeks. And it's really amazing to see someone come in and when they're leaving, just, you know, obviously what they've learned while being there, the information they've been able to hold, but most importantly, the connections they've been able to make, and feeling good about themselves again, feeling the hope, feeling like they can achieve. And I think a big part of peer support is how I sort of practice is if a guest is, or, you know, if a peer's not sort of, you can see they're in a shell, you know what I mean? I want to bring them out of their shell. So I'm going to give them some sort of positive feedback, because if I look at when I was in early recovery, I didn't see good things about myself. It took others to pull that out of me. So that's something I quite often do is a guest might be saying something to me, but I pick up on something like really positive. I'm like, hey, what I'm hearing from you is X, Y, and Z. You know, correct me if I'm wrong, but, you know, for me, that's a really strengths-based approach. I want people to feel good and feel like they can believe in themselves again. So I think in terms of a residential setting, there's a lot to learn, because there's just it's quite compact, and you have a full program where community is a bit different. You've sort of just got yourself and your team manager and your colleagues to rely on. So you are sort of out in the open, but with a residential, a little bit different. There are a little bit more rules and structure, which is very much needed in early recovery, especially in services. But again, I think the positive thing about having lived experience, what I've sort of come to see is people let their guard down a bit more easier. They haven't just read from a book here. They have lived a similar life or lived a similar journey. So once you sort of build that mutual, you know, understand that mutuality, share a little bit of your lived experience with them, build that rapport, you find you're able to connect so much more better, and they're really just so grateful to be there, so grateful to get the support they need. People don't want to leave Puna Whakataa. That's how amazing that service is. And again, you know, I wish New Zealand had more of those, because I think it just has such a positive impact on people's lives. And it just brings a whole new flavour to what recovery has to offer.
Edith.
I'm on mute.
Yes.
So you also have, as I just did, to nobody, lots of casual workers there, don't you? So it's a good way for people who are new to the sector to step in kind of a gentle way.
Yeah, and just to echo what Edith just said, why it's really good to start as a casual is just to get your feel for it. You know what I mean? Because when you come into these roles, we still have to maintain our own recoveries, and if you start like as a 40-hour-a-week peer support worker, you know, we can find it difficult to maintain our recoveries as well as doing the mahi. So an introduction starting as a casual, you know, you're not there as much, but you're there when you're available. A good way to sort of just get your feet grounded and sort of get an idea of how things work. And then you know, obviously you work your way into a role when you feel more comfortable, more confident. But yeah, in my experience, I'd always encourage everyone to maybe start as a casual or on lesser hours if it is your first time entering a role.
Beautiful. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Anyone else want to comment on that?
I love the thing about casuals. It's just so great. You can dip your toe in the market. You can see if you like them. They can see if they like you. Beautiful way to start off.
Okay, we'll jump into our next person letting you know about the role. So this one's peer support, and we've got a video for you. A familiar face to you, whānau.
Kia ora koutou katoa, ko Claire hau. My name is Claire and I come with lived experience of addiction. For me, peer support is about an intentional relationship. It's about building a connection with someone that they haven't had before. It's about staying in relationship, which is based on mutuality, where two people have a say. It's around creating an inviting, trusting and safe space. You're moving towards and supporting the peer's goals. You're coming in with aroha, empathy and compassion. And you're listening with intent. You're hearing their message the way that they are intending you to hear. Kia ora koutou katoa. Ka kite.
Oh, so good to see Claire. So good
Isn't
to
she
see.
lovely? Just lovely.
Yeah, so anyone want to comment on that? Working in a peer support role?
I think what she mentioned about the connection is the key. The connection is what it's all about. It's mutual. You know, you always got to maintain that connection. And sometimes, you know, sometimes you have to, you know, come back and repair the connection even. But that's what peer support is about.
Absolutely. Now, Andrew, would you like to let us know about the role of consumer advisor, something that you're not doing now, but that you have done in the past?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Ruth. Just following up, I did about 11 years in those sort of community support work and residential roles that Troy was alluding to. And then for about 14 years, I was a consumer advisor with one of the larger parts of Te Whatu now in Auckland. And one of the things that is quite funny about the consumer advisor roles is that most people that are actually working in them don't particularly like the job title, you know, consumer advisor. People ask you, what's a consumer, that sort of thing. And we, between ourselves, we like to talk more about either service user or tangata whaiora, which means people seeking wellness, and that's quite a commonly used term. But the whole role of consumer advisor depends a little bit on the part of the DHB that you're working in. Some people would be working with youth and young people. Others would be working in more of a district role, so that would be working with the ICU unit and the community sides of the mental health side as well. And then there are a couple of people that were also working with older people and with people in more of a forensic role, in the regional role. So yeah, quite different skills being used, but all basically using your lived experience to hopefully be able to coordinate people's stays in the different parts of the system, and hopefully experience and get feedback that can go back to management and other parts of the service, so that people can just feel that they are having a voice, because quite often people are quite down, as Troy was saying, and just having that transition from a distressed mental well-being to a more hopeful and positive outlook on life. So yeah, I think that covers most of it. I mean, one of the things that I found really good in the consumer advisor roles was that it was a role that was brought in 10 or 15 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago, to actually make sure that people with lived experience were being able to access and use the different levels of the system as well. So that particularly we were given the opportunity to be on interview panels just making sure that the people that we were employing were right for that position, and that they got a fair and equitable sort of approach to the job that they were looking for in that. So yeah, I think that's about it that I want to say at the moment, but yeah, feel free to talk a little bit more.
Great, thanks so much, Andrew. So has anyone else got any comments about the consumer advisor role?
Yes, I always like the description. So, peer support, you're peer supporting, one-on-one.
Yeah.
And with consumer advisor, consumer engagement advisor, you're supporting the system. Peer supporting the system, yeah.
I've not heard that before.
I made it up.
Oh, you better protect that, your IP there. Very
Well,
good.
my
I
own-
like that a lot. I like that a lot. Yeah, because I mean, I do like facilitate a consumer group at a service, and yeah, that's it. To me, it's a wonderful opportunity. I always say to people, don't think of it as criticizing, the service and the staff here. Think of it as suggestions for improvement. Because 99 times out of 100, they're just gushing about how much they love this particular service, and how much they want to stay longer. And so, but I just encourage them to, think of ways that we can make this a little bit better, because, we're always looking to make things better, aren't we? And so that kind of gets them thinking, and that they always come up with a few things, and normally they're the same few things. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, it is such an important role, but I love that, peer supporting the system. I remember that. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so now we're going to go on to Ruth. And what role are you going to be talking about, Ruth?
I'm going to be talking about training roles. So these roles I'm talking about are for peer educators. So from my own experience of facilitating the peer employment training, which I've been involved with on and off actually from quite some time back. I started in the peer support sector in 2006 and was lucky enough to have experience with the people that came out from America, and then more so, for in our New Zealand contracts. So yeah, it's incredibly rewarding work. There's stuff that you share from yourself. It's incredibly personal, and it's also very structured. So there's a set of things that have to be taught, and it's almost sacred knowledge and magic. You're setting people up to go into this this lovely amazing sector. So sort of things you need a lot of experience. So I'd done peer support for quite some time. I'd done RAP facilitation. I'd done a national certificate in adult teaching and learning, and also my other experiences in consumer engagement advisor role. So just the more you've got from everywhere, the more the better. You don't have to have all that. Like, you can start off with what you've got. If you've got the passion to do it, then the main thing is putting your hand up and letting it be known that you're keen on that. There's not many roles doing this, but then there are things dotted around within organizations as well. So you need to be good at admin. There's actually a lot of admin. You've just got to have like the sheer grit and the stamina to hold the energy in a room. You're teaching for whole days, over a series. It has to be engaging for people to learn. You've obviously got to have that passion and hope for recovery, but also the confidence to be able to fake it till you make it. Because you're not always going to be in situations that you've done before, but you've just got to have that in yourself to be able to do that. So it's not just the peer employment training. In Counties Manukau, there's master trainers in different organisations for their in-house training, so they're all peer trainings. There's co-facilitating roles with those trainings, with REP. At the moment, there is no REP training being provided. So what used to be the case where we would have 2 facilitators who had been trained. Some towns now people are having to have people that are not trained, which is a great experience for that second person. So you're getting to co-facilitate with a really experienced facilitator. The REP facilitation was actually my, that's what brought me through. That was my basis. Then there's external training providers, and yeah, within training, within services as well. For example, at Te Whatu Ora, you can be with the wonderful nurse educator team as a consumer educator, involved in training all of the clinical people. Recovery College, we're looking for people to learn skills. We're providing education and learning to co-facilitate, and then facilitate workshops. We're always looking to increase our pool of wonderful people. And then the wider tertiary thing. So this is really beyond, but just to know that there are peers facilitating training for many teachers, for many students and nurses, social workers, doctors. There's a new lived experience qualification that is coming through as well, and there's 2 people who are peers who are facilitating that. So there's always opportunities. So just look out for them. It's not a straightforward process. People can ask you to co-facilitate for all sorts of different things in different ways, and just put your hand up. Let it be known that you're keen. You won't regret it. Thanks, Edith.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's a great skill to have. So many roles are looking for people who are able to do that, facilitate groups, lead workshops, and none of us, very few of us, feel comfortable doing it, but that doesn't mean that we can't still be good at it. So it's something that I'm definitely not comfortable at doing it, but people have told me I'm good at it, so I continue to do it. But yeah, it's led to lots of other opportunities as well. So I thought we would be a bit cheeky, and I hope we're not going to get told off for this, but Andrew Blackburn is a new employee with us here at Ember Takatine, and he is in a very, very exciting role, and he probably can't tell you very much about it, but he's going to tell you a little bit about it.
Hey, thank you, Edith. It's quite an exciting role. It's really basically to do things fairly similar to drive, but not just in the Counties Manukau area, but also for the rest of the North Island from Turingi to Northland. So I can't be in everywhere at the same time sort of role. I'm not Superman or Flash or any of those guys. But we're in the process of starting to put together a website, and we're hopefully going to gather and garnish as many of the events throughout the country, throughout the North Island that we can, so that people know where to go and how to access support with our services, but also just so that people feel that they are part of the Ember experience, either as an Emberite, tangata whaiora or whanau, or even a third party out in the community and different organisations and that as well. So yeah, I can't say much more than that at the moment, but watch the space. In the next couple of months, things will start developing. So thanks, Edith.
Thank you so much. Yes, so the Ember Experience, we are planting that seed now. The Ember Experience is being born. It's being born. So watch this space. Very exciting times. And that's why they brought in the amazing Andrew Blackburn, who very luckily for us moved into our area. And so it all just was a beautiful, synchronicity. Now, so Andrew's just let us know a little bit about that, and I've just asked Troy, because that's that's how we roll over here. We just ask people spontaneously to do this. And because people are so experienced and they have that ultimate flexibility, they are able to do that. So Troy is going to now tell us a little bit about the benefit of having a supervisor.
You could again, everyone. I just think if I look at my observations and what I've sort of noticed without the sector in terms of peer support roles, the importance of like getting the support you need, like from your manager, from, you know, as we shared about Sara, from your best practice supervisor. I think these are the really key essential things to be doing while working, because, you know, we might think we're solid in our recoveries, you know what I mean? And most, you know, we can be, that's great. Sometimes someone might share something with us and we can get triggered, you know, without even knowing. So that's why, you know, like having a supervisor to bounce those ideas off, and just to feel like in a safe space and that you can share your emotions and your feelings with them as well, around, you know, an experience that you might have had that made you feel a bit uncomfortable, and maybe how you would approach that again. Because yeah, one thing I do notice is, you know, throughout the sector, throughout the years, is, you know, everyone comes in really passionate, they're ready to be in these roles, and that's the best thing that we ever want. The difficult part is maintaining that role. The difficult part is maintaining your wellness, not giving everything to your role. You know, that's what we want to do. We just want to give everything because that's who we are. You know, the other side of that is sometimes we can lose ourselves and we can lose our recovery because we're putting other people first. That's why I encourage supervision. And if you're feeling like you're needing extra support or extra supervision, ask your manager. You know, never be afraid to ask, or never be afraid to say how you're traveling. We are lived experience. We can't be expected to be running on, you know, on full all the time. So the importance of supervision is huge, just based on, you know, not just co-reflection and co-practice stuff, but just sort of letting your manager or your supervisor know how you're feeling, you know, how you're traveling. Because, you know, the majority of us that come into, you know, with AOD, into recovery, into these roles, you know, it's not easy. You know, we have meetings to attend, we have counselling to attend, we've got, you know, we've got our program as such. And how does that fit into our mahi? You know, because it's so easy to come into these roles, you're working 9 till 5. Oh, I'm too tired to go to a meeting, I'm too tired to do this tonight. And that's why it's important to have supervision, just to name that sort of stuff, to continue to work on yourself. Because my philosophy is, if I'm working in the sector, I need to work twice as hard on myself. And how do I manage that? And one of the importances of that is definitely getting the right supervision. Supervision is just a really important tool, because if I'm not learning, what am I doing? I'm stagnant, I'm boring. I've done peer support for nearly 11 years, I think, maybe, yeah, something like that. But I still want to learn. I don't know everything. And if I think like that, that's a very narrow-minded way to look at things. I always want to learn. I'm grateful to have colleagues to learn off, to talk to. And that's what it's about. It's just about continuous improvement of ourselves too, and our practice. But in terms of supervision, I just think I'm also a supervisor as well, and I've done a couple of supervisor roles, and I really enjoy that, because I like to see people come through and learn the art of peer support, because I truly believe peer support is an art. The language in itself is an art. So when you're coming and doing your co-reflection and your supervision, you know, look at the end of it. What's my learnings? What am I taking away from today? And if you're feeling not heard in your supervision, speak into it, because sometimes, you know, we might not feel heard, so speak into it. You know what I mean? Recovery gave me the amazing tool to stick up for myself again and to believe in myself. So when you're in these roles, continue to believe in yourself and continue to ask for the support that you need.
Beautiful, thank you. Anyone else want to comment on what he's just said there?
Oh, I just fully agree, Troy. I mean, it's just, and it's so important. Like, we really need that. It just keeps us doing, you know, the best that we absolutely can, and looking after ourselves as well, because it's hard work sometimes. We're all here because of our own lived experience and recovery. So yeah, we really do need to look after ourselves.
And it's okay if you're having a bad day, Ruth, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
We don't, you know, like I said, I'm not going to be running on 100%. I try, and I'm like a mediate. So like if I'm traveling like a 7 or an 8 out of 10, I'm good. You know, I'm not going to be a 10 because that's not who I am. I can't just give all because I need to be taking some energy home. You know what I mean? We can't be going and giving it all because what are we taking home? You know what I mean? We can't pour from an empty cup and we still got to go home at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And I think this is something that I don't know if I'm overgeneralizing, but those of us who have come through the addiction pathway, it's so easy for us to cross addict into workaholism and just throw ourselves into it. And I know that's something that I have personally done. So that's why I'm saying I don't know if I'm overgeneralizing, but that's absolutely something that I have done, is that I have just thrown my, work has become my absolute passion. And unfortunately, my recovery has taken a back seat. And, what happens is that at some stage you realize, oh, I can't keep going like this. And that's when you knock on the door of Care NZ and you say, peer support, can I get an appointment?
Yeah.
And they welcome you back. They welcome you back to the fold. So yeah, it's that importance that, and these are lessons, aren't they? They're lessons. And I mean, over the years, people have repeatedly told me, but I know better. I know better because I'm me and I know better. But the state, eventually that time does come. Hopefully, I've just been doing the rap with Ruth, and she's talking about things like your early warning signs. And when things are breaking down, and I'm this is all lots of real life. This is applying to me here. So one thing that I really like is certain organizations like Counties Manukau Health. One of the things that they do is they make their employees do a work wrap, don't they? Their lived experience peers. That's right, isn't it? Yes, and I think that's something that a lot of us could benefit from, is doing that work wrap. How do we keep ourselves well in this space? And whether we use the wrap or whether we use te whare tapa whā, to make it something that's structured in to the organization. Because there are those people like me who will just go for war.
And thank you for sharing that too, Edith, because a lot of people will just say, I'm fine, I'm good. Yeah. You know what I mean? And when we've been doing this sort of mahi for a long time, Edith is bang on the money. Sometimes we forget about our own recoveries because we're focused on everyone else. And that's normal. And that's why it's important, like Sara said, be transparent. It's okay if you're struggling at the moment. How can we improve that? So thank you, Edith, for sharing that, because it is a big thing. People get worried that they're not going to be employable because they're struggling at the moment. Not true at all. There's the best support out there if you open up and be transparent around how you're traveling.
And that's one of the beauties of the peer sector, isn't it? Is that, there is this expectation that we will be having these conversations because we are lived experience and we are managing our lived experience on a daily basis. Absolutely.
And can I just add, the supervision in its core, is about your practice and what you're doing. And you bring things to supervision that you're going through and thinking, I want to just tease that out and see if I can, do things differently. So that's the core of the supervision. And organizations also have things around that where they will actually pay for you to have your own personal counselling. So the supervisor is not going to be that one giving you that personal stuff, but they'd be referring you back to your rep for work and perhaps to these counsellors. And it's three sessions. They're external to your organisation, so it doesn't matter where you're working, as long as your organisation is part of that plan. And they can be very useful to just to go to for a brief. I don't like to use the word intervention. A brief. Can someone help me out here? What the word is?
Intervention is fine, I think.
Yeah, okay, cool. So there's that as well, and it's external to the organization. So you're not bringing all your stuff to your boss or your supervisor. You're bringing all that work stuff. And person. I don't mean to say it's not personal at all, but just highlighting that there are actually places external that you can go to.
And it's like Ruth said as well, like yes, supervision is about your practice and maybe, sharing if you're not traveling well, but it's about, as staff, we're able to access EAP. So that's some counselling on the side, because that's what we're entitled to. And don't be afraid to access that, you know what I mean? I think the majority of people that have worked in the sector have accessed it at some point in time. And that's okay, because if we're not getting the right support we need, what are we doing? How are we encouraging our peers to do all these things when we're not doing it ourselves?
Absolutely.
Yep, like Sara talked about, that authenticity. Yep,
Sure.
being real, keeping it real. Absolutely.
A word that I like to use when I come across someone that I agree with, I concur. Because what you're saying about that supervision and counselling, we do need to be able to reflect on some of our practice to hone it up and make it as authentic for people and genuine as possible, but also so that we don't get into the space of burnout, because that's something that can happen if people aren't on top of and considering their welfare. So yeah, thank you, Troy. I can
Absolutely. And if your EAP, if those 3 sessions, if they're not quite enough, you are able to apply for more. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah, I think up to 6.
Pardon?
Up to 6.
Up to 6. Oh, fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's great. So yeah, that's another thing for you. And that just got me thinking actually about our people coming into the sector, Ember, and getting some support going through that process. There is a great service that Ember have, Ember Employment. Let me just grab the link for you. Where's it hiding? Okay, so I'll find it and I'll pop it in the thing for you. Would Troy, do you know much about Ember Employment?
I do.
Oh, great.
If you do the peer employment training, they always come in on the Employers' Day. They're a free service for anyone, and they help you with what you need to be applying for a job, so that they'll talk to you about what you want to do. They'll even help you with your CV and your cover letter, and all the other things around that interview. So if you've got any goals at all around that, give them a call or send them an email. And they are really quick to respond. So you're not going to be waiting for a long time. And there's quite a few of them. There's quite a few, and they're all kind of different, and in their own ways and their own strengths. So yeah, there's every chance that you'll have a really good fit.
Absolutely, they are very fast to respond. I told a woman about them at the Abacus training on Tuesday, and about 30 minutes later, I got an email from one of our Ember Employment people thanking me for referring her and telling me that they'd already assigned her an employment consultant.
Wow, yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God. And I said, oh, congratulations at that Ember. And she goes, oh, have they accepted me? And I said, oh yeah, your employment consultant's name is contacting you shortly.
Yeah.
So I was like, you couldn't get any faster than that. Within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Talking to her about it. She applied straight away online and boom, they'd already assigned someone to her.
And they're a mobile team too. So, it's, you don't have to go into an office, like they're out and about where you are.
So I'm just popping the phone number and the email address in the comments there, people. So I've already popped the website in there, so you can go in there and have a look around, because they do a few things. So it's not just if you're ready to work, they've got that service, but they've also got people who are at different levels of work readiness. So you might be ready to volunteer, or you might just be kind of getting back into the community and you just want to do some group activities to get used to being out in the community, they've got that for you as well. So it really is an amazing service that I wish I'd known about when I was early in recovery. But unfortunately, I only found out about it after I'd already been employed. So I want everyone to know about this awesome Ember Employment service. And there's WorkBridge as well, of course. There's WorkBridge as well. Yes, do WorkBridge ever come into PET?
No, no, unfortunately, we don't have time. Like, it's mainly employers. But obviously, you know, we've got a really good relationship with Ember Employment. So so they come in and do their thing.
Great. Okay. So I think this has come to a natural conclusion now, Whānau. Does anyone have anything that they want to add before we sign off?
Just there's always hope. I just want you to know that there's always hope. And, you know, you might come to the end of the peer employment training and think you're just going to go out and get a job. And you're actually probably not, you know, like, you know, there's only so many jobs in the sector, which is why if you try, you know, and you don't get one to start with, try again, you know, or go out and get some other skills and come back and try again. Just, you know, there's always hope. At the moment, there's a lot of hope. There's like 22 vacancies, which is unheard of. So yeah, this is a great time. This is a great time to get in there. But yeah, as the person who does the peer employment training, you know, it's not a guarantee of work, which is why I just, yeah, always hold that hope and keep trying.
And just to talk what Ruth said as well, I remember that the first role I applied for as a peer support worker, there was 30 people in a group interview and we had to come and do role plays. It was such an out of it way of being, we had an initial interview, but then we had like group interviews, so we had to do role plays. And honestly, I was just like, there's no way I'm getting this, just no way. There's so much more better people. So how Ruth says, hold the hope, put yourself out there, give yourself a chance. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be sitting where I am today, even though my head was telling me there's just no way. And that's the thing, sometimes people see what we have to offer and we can't see it ourselves. So put yourself out there. Many amazing roles that you can apply for at the moment, and just believe in yourself.
Andrew, anything from you?
No, just thank you for being involved. Look forward to seeing people in the next one. So yeah.
Wonderful. And I just wanted to also let you know that, you know, although we've got these peer support roles, lived experience roles that I've got in that document over there, those are the ones that you must have lived experience to apply for. And that's why I prioritize them. But there are also other roles like, I know a lot of my peers are working as program facilitators for, what is Personal Focus's new name?
Whitiora.
For Whitiora. So they're working as program facilitators, and you know, they come in with their lived experience, and that is a resource, that is capital that they can use, that you know, these employers really like for them to have. So there are those roles out there as well, where employers are encouraging people with lived experience to apply for those. I'm not sure whether I should be including those or not. Maybe I should. Shouldn't I, guys?
Oh yeah, no, I think it's important to see that. Yeah, you can bring that to other roles around it. Yeah, I mean, we don't really want to lose you from the tight peer support pool, but there are other things, and they all add value, and you still might come back to a peer role, or you might not, but you're taking your magic wherever you go.
Absolutely. And I also thought of this other thing that I was told when I first started looking for work by Linda Poynton, the ex-clinical director of Care NZ, and she was saying that when she's employing people, one thing she looks for is voluntary experience. She wants to see that you've been out there giving to the community, because that shows her that you have a heart for people, and that you're not just here because, you know, you're eligible because you have lived experience. You actually want to be out there giving to people. And so she looks for people who are doing voluntary work on their CV. So that's maybe something you can think about if you think that your CV is looking a bit empty. Although, you know, several of the employers have been telling us that, you know, don't don't overfill your CV, but I think showing some voluntary work would be a great thing to have on there if you don't have much work experience. I think that would be a great thing to show. And there are things that you can do that are just one day things.
Yeah,
One day.
I was going to say, I don't like the thought of people doing a lot of work for free. You know, you're worth money. Totally agree with what Edith's saying is, you know, have these experiences for sure. But yeah, I don't like to think of people giving a lot of their time, you know, when they're actually trying to get a job.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I don't mean, like I have done a lot of voluntary work. So sounds like I'm not really explaining it properly. You know, I think voluntary work is great, but go for the paid roles. Like you need to be paid.
Yeah, no, I hear you, Ruth. I hear you saying that our people are being taken advantage of and that they deserve to be remunerated for their labour. Absolutely correct. Anyone else have anything to say on that?
Yeah, just the community side of things. One of the things that I do is give blood with NZ Blood Service, and that's an hour out of my time every month outside my work hours, but it's just something that I do for the community to help save lives. So yeah,
nice.
That sort of thing I think Ruth agrees with, eh?
Absolutely. I do agree with voluntary work, full stop. Now I'm sounding like I don't. That's brilliant. And all voluntary work is brilliant, but also I think people need to be remunerated, like Edith said.
Yeah.
And not for your blood. We're not paying you for that, Andrew.
No. In other countries you can do that, but not in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But good on you. That's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. That's wonderful. It really speaks to the type of person you are, doesn't it? Yeah. And would you put that on your CV?
I can't remember whether I did or not. I don't think I did, but
no, because you have so much experience, you wouldn't need to. But yeah.
I tell you what, just a quick one, like this was quite a long time ago. I volunteered with Youthline. Now it was an amazing thing. So that I learned a lot of skills. So yeah, I wasn't being paid, but I learned heaps and heaps of transferable skills, and I did heaps of stuff on the phone, which was awesome. You know, so it was voluntary, but it did set up my CV beautifully to go into what we're doing now. So so you do, you know, there are other benefits that other than just money if you choose wisely.
Absolutely. And you've just reminded me of someone who secured a role as a consumer advisor for an organization, and his previous experience, because he was a musician coming into the lived experience sector, was working on Warmline as a phone operator.
Perfect. Getting
those phone calls. And so from that, you know, he's building up his experience of interacting with people who are experiencing distress.
Yeah. So that's, you know, that's directly job related, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you can do that when it's convenient to you.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So thank you, team. Andrew, you're part of the Drive team now.
Thanks.
I'm inviting you to every Drive meeting now. All our catch-ups, you're in.
Okay.
Nice. Nice. That's so great. You're such a welcome addition, Andrew.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're so grateful to have you. So thank you to my team for joining me here today for our first ever Work Ready Huitopa. Now, I think we need to make this a regular thing, don't we, guys?
Yeah.
At least once a year, at least. And we've done it this time. Next time will be better. We had glitches this time, but that's okay. We can be forgiving. No one needs to be perfect. So I hope you guys got some value out of this. To our viewers. Now, remember, this is being recorded. I will also be posting, you know, all of those videos of those employers. I will be posting those separately. So you can just go directly into them. And there was about an hour's worth of an interview from Fionna Sutherland, which was just gold, but I didn't have time to go through it all. So I will be going through that when I have some time and popping out clips from that as well. And some of the things that Fionna reminded me of was that she was there in 2006 when the first peer support specialist was employed at Counties Manukau Health, Te Whatu Ora Counties Manukau Health. And Ruth, were you the first peer support employed, Ruth?
No, so that there were 5 that were in the first training, and then I was in the second training, and then I got a job there as well. So I was in the first team, but I wasn't the number 1.
Do you know who the number 1 was?
Well, no, there was 5 of them. So. One of them was our lovely Cassandra.
Yes, and she talks about interviewing Cassandra and how she could see straight away. Because one of the things that she mentioned was when people are talking about peer language, using the language, what really stands out for her is when people put it in their own words. And, you know, you can see that they are really taking on that and using it daily and really making it a part of their lives, and that passion for peer support. Like Troy talks about, the art of peer support. You know, it really is an art form. And for those of us who are deep in it, you know, we're using that language all the time. We're applying it to ourselves all the time, applying it to whatever situation we're in. And, you know, that's one of the things that she said made Cassandra stand out, is that she was using the language in her own words and the passion that came through. And she said she walked out of that interview with Cassandra and she just went to her colleague and said, I think we found our lead. I think we found our lead. We found her. And of course, we know, those of us who are familiar with Cassandra Lasky, just how pivotal she has been to our sector here in Counties Manukau and Aotearoa. We won't limit her just to Counties Manukau. And Fiona let me know that February 28th is the anniversary of peer support in Counties Manukau. And so every year now, what I would like is if Drive does something special on February 28th. But we can't do it this year because we've already actually got some stuff booked on that day. Rainbow and Recovery, everyone, Rainbow and Recovery. Join us with Rika. The link is in the chat there. But yeah, 2024, February 28th. Let's organise a big event and celebrate peer support in Counties Manukau, because really, this is where we are doing more than anywhere else in Aotearoa, aren't we? We are pushing it further and wider than anywhere else in Aotearoa. And people look at us and they wish they had what we have here. So, but we always need to be improving, don't we? Just like our consumer advisor with these services, we always want to be making things better. Any comments, guys?
Tautoko. Tautoko.
Beautiful. Okay, so on that note, I think we can again thank you to our viewers for joining us today. And you know, it's just wonderful to engage with you. And remember, you can watch this again. Please enter our competitions. We have 10 countdown vouchers to give away. We won't be giving away just one per question. We're giving away all 10 because, of course, we haven't asked 10 questions.
And particularly the scavenger hunt, you know?
Yeah.
We know some of you went really hard for that scavenger hunt. So we're going to, yeah, there's going to be prizes for that, all right?
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so who was going to close for us?
Would you like to close, Ruthie?
Oh, I was waiting for the person who opens closes.
I don't mind either way.
Oh, I can as well if you want. No, you go, Troy. You go. Yeah.
All good. Firstly, I just want to just pay thanks to everyone that's attended today. And just want to call upon our collective higher powers just to pay thanks to the space, pay thanks to my amazing colleagues, but most of all, pay thanks to our amazing network members and our communities. Bless us on our journeys today, that our family and whānau stay safe over this weekend, and just to continue to inspire and encourage us to always be better people. Amen.
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 Thanks, Troy.
Kia ora, Troy.
Thank you, whānau. Go well. Stay dry this weekend.